Imagine for a moment that you discover that throughout your entire life, you have been conditioned to think in a way that is not your own, that there is a mental code, documented by decades of research in neuroscience, behavioral psychology, and neuro-linguistic programming. And the most shocking part? 99% of people will never discover. Implanted in your mind since childhood, designed not for your success, but to keep you exactly where you are now. This is not a conspiracy theory. It is a reality. At this very moment, as you read these words, your mind is processing approximately 60,000 thoughts per day. Of these, only 3% are conscious. The other 97% operate on this. You are about to uncover the most powerful and obscure mental hack that exists. Let's start with a brutal truth. You do not control your thoughts. They control you. Autopilot, following neural patterns that have been programmed over years of social, family, and cultural conditioning. These unconscious patterns are like software, running in the background of your brain, dictating your reactions, your financial decisions, your relationships, your self-esteem, and most importantly, your limits. Here's what happens in practice. When you think, I can't do it, it's not you thinking. It's the mental program running. When you feel fear about making an important decision, it's not intuition. It's the mental security system that was installed to keep you in your comfort zone. When you sabotage your own opportunities, it's not a lack of ability. It's the self-limiting code working perfectly. There is a problem that affects 97% of the world's population, but is completely ignored by traditional education, the media, and even conventional psychology. The problem is this: your mind has been hacked. From the moment you were born, your mind has been bombarded with millions of microprogramming. Every you can't, every that's impossible, every you're not capable, every comparison with other people, every fear implanted by parents, teachers, society. All of this has created a mental matrix that operates like an invisible prison. This mental matrix has three main components, installed mainly between ages 0 to 7, when your brain was in a theta brainwave state, hypnotic. At this stage, you literally absorbed everything as absolute truth, developed as a security system to keep you away from the unknown. Every time you try to step out of your comfort zone, this mechanism activates anxiety, fear, procrastination, or any other form of resistance. Your brain constantly seeks evidence to confirm your limiting beliefs. If you believe you're not good enough, your brain will ignore your successes and focus only on failures. The consequence of this? You live a life much smaller than you could live. Your dreams remain eternally in the someday I will category. Your abilities remain dormant. Your real potential never manifests. But what if I told you there is a way to hack back this mental programming? What if you could identify exactly what the limiting codes installed in your mind are and, more importantly, how to completely rewrite them? In the next few minutes, you will discover the exact scientific method to identify and uninstall any limiting belief from your mind in less than 21 days. The accelerated neural reprogramming technique that neuroscientists use to create permanent changes in the brain. The 7 mental hacks that ultra-successful people use to completely bypass the self-sabotage system. How to activate what I call genius mode, a mental state where you have access to abilities you didn't even know you possessed. The complete protocol to transform any area of your life, financial, relationships, health, career, through mental reprogramming. This is not just another one of those empty motivational contents you find out there. This is a scientific, tested, and proven system based on decades of research in neuroplasticity, cognitive psychology, and neuro-linguistic programming. We will address the exact anatomy of how your mind was hacked. You will be shocked to discover when and how this happened. The 5 signs that indicate you are operating with limiting mental programming. The simple 2-minute test to identify your most toxic beliefs. The mental reset technique to erase negative neural patterns. How to implant new mental codes that work in your favor 24/7. The method to accelerate results using your brain's natural cycles. Perhaps you have tried changes before. Perhaps you have read self-help books, done therapy, tried visualization techniques, or positive affirmations. If it didn't work, as expected, it wasn't your fault. The problem is that most approaches try to change behaviors without addressing the mental programming that generates them. It's like trying to change what appears on your computer screen without touching the software. It doesn't work. What you will learn here goes straight to the source code of your mind. We will work at the level of neural patterns, synaptic connections, and the unconscious belief system. We will literally rewrite the mental software that runs your life. Before we continue, I need to give you an important warning. What you are about to discover is extremely powerful. These techniques can cause deep and permanent changes in your life. Some people report transformations so dramatic that their lives become completely different in a matter of weeks. If you are not prepared for real changes, stop reading now. But if you are truly committed to breaking the patterns that have limited your life, if you want to finally access your real potential, if you are willing to do whatever it takes to reprogram your mind for success, then keep reading, because in the next step, we will dive deep deep into the anatomy of mental conditioning, and you will discover exactly how your mind was hacked. Prepare for a journey that will completely change the way you see yourself and your possibilities. Now that you understand that your mind has been hacked, it's time to map exactly how this happened. Prepare for a disturbing journey through the deepest layers of human mental conditioning. What you are about to discover will shock you, not because it's complex, but because it's frighteningly simple and systematic. There is a precise architecture behind how your mind was programmed to limit you, and once you see this architecture, you will no longer be able to unsee it. Welcome to the secret laboratory of your own mind. Let's start with a truth that will completely reshape your view of your own history. Your current personality is not yours. It is a manufactured product. Between the ages of 0 and 7, your brain predominantly operated in theta waves, 4 to 8 hertz. This is the same brain state that adults reach during deep hypnosis. In this state, your brain was like a hypnotic sponge, absorbing and accepting as absolute truth everything it saw, heard, and experienced. The result? You were literally hypnotized to become who you are today. Your mind's programming happened through 4 main vectors. Your parents, even with the best intentions, transmitted their own fears, limitations, and beliefs. Every "be careful not to get hurt," every "this is too dangerous," every "we don't have money for that," every comparison with other children became a hypnotic command recorded in your subconscious. The educational system installed the programming of conformity. Be quiet, don't question, follow the rules, be like everyone else. Your natural creativity was systematically suppressed and replaced by linear and limited thought patterns. Society constantly bombards you with messages about your limits. Be realistic. Don't dream too big. Accept your situation. The media, social networks, and everyday conversations continuously reinforce your limitations. Experiences of rejection, failure, humiliation, or pain created neural scars that turned into deep limiting beliefs. A single traumatic experience can create a limitation that lasts for decades. Here's how the process of installing a limiting belief works. Something happens that generates an intense emotion: fear, shame, anger, sadness. The intense emotion acts as a neural marker that makes the brain pay maximum attention. Your brain, especially in childhood, creates an interpretation of what happened. I'm not good enough. The world is dangerous. I don't deserve love. Money is hard to get. The brain generalizes this interpretation to other similar situations. One experience becomes a universal rule. From here on, your brain seeks evidence that confirms this belief, ignoring contrary evidence. This is called confirmation bias. The belief becomes automatic, operating below the level of consciousness, influencing all your decisions and behaviors. At the core of your mental programming is a system I call the comfort zone guardian. This system has a single function: to keep you exactly where you are. How the guardian works: every time you try to do something new, different, or challenging, the guardian activates a cascade of neural reactions: release of cortisol, stress hormone, activation of the amygdala, fear center, suppression of the prefrontal cortex, center of logic and creativity, activation of the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight response. The result? You feel anxiety, fear, procrastination, or find 1,000 excuses not to do what needs to be done. The guardian has several strategies: making you think so much that you never act, making you wait for the perfect moment that never comes, making you feel like a fraud, making you imagine the worst possible scenarios, making you sabotage your own opportunities. The second layer is even more subtle and powerful. It's the system that defines who you are versus who you are not. Your current identity is a collection of labels you have internalized. I am a shy person. I am not good with money. I am not the kind of person who. I have always been this way. The problem is that your brain will do anything to maintain consistency with your identity. If you identify as someone who struggles financially, your brain will subconsciously sabotage any attempt at prosperity because that would be inconsistent with your identity. If you see yourself as someone who can't relate well, you will unconsciously create conflicts or distance yourself from healthy relationships. Layer 3, the hierarchical values system. The third layer is the system that determines what is important to you. But here's the secret: your values are not yours. They were implanted. Practical example: if you value security more than growth, you will always choose the safe path, even if it keeps you limited. If you value approval from others more than authenticity, you will always shape your behavior to please, never truly being yourself. The problem is that many people have value hierarchies that work against their goals. Segment C, the 5 mechanisms of mental control. Mechanism: the toxic inner dialogue. Your mind generates approximately 60,000 thoughts per day. For most people, 80% of these thoughts are negative and 95% are repetitive. The toxic inner dialogue works like a radio program that plays 24/7 in your head. You won't make it. You're not good enough. Everyone is better than you. You always mess things up. You don't deserve this. This dialogue is not you speaking. It's the mental program running. Most people believe this dialogue dialogue is their own voice, their own opinion about themselves. In reality, it's the voice of conditioning, echoing messages that were implanted years ago. Mechanism 2. The perceptual filter. Your brain processes approximately 11 million bits of information per second, but you can only consciously process about 40 bits per second. This means your brain is constantly filtering reality. And here's the problem. The filters were programmed during your conditioning. You literally see the world through distorted lenses, perceiving only evidence that confirms your limiting beliefs. For example, if you believe that people don't like me, your brain will notice every facial expression that seems disapproving, every tone of voice that seems cold, every situation that seems like rejection. Simultaneously, your brain will ignore smiles, compliments, invitations, and signs of acceptance. Certain words, situations, people, or environments automatically trigger specific emotional states. These are your emotional anchors. How it works. During emotionally intense experiences, your brain creates neural associations between external stimuli and internal states. Once created, these associations become automatic. Common examples. Seeing an authority figure automatically triggers feelings of inadequacy. Thinking about money automatically triggers anxiety. Growth opportunities automatically trigger fear. Social situations automatically trigger insecurity. This is perhaps the most insidious of all mechanisms. It's the process by which your limiting beliefs self-perpetuate. The cycle works like this. 1. Belief, I'm not good enough. 2. Behavior, you act insecurely or avoid. Challenges. 3. Result, you don't get the results you want. 4. Confirmation, see, I knew I wasn't good enough. 5. Reinforcement, the belief becomes even stronger. This cycle creates a self-fulfilling prophecy that strengthens with each repetition. Your brain has a reward system that should motivate you to seek growth and achievement. But conditioning has distorted this system. For many people, the reward system has been programmed to feel pleasure in complaining and victimizing, feel comfort in staying small and invisible, feel relief in avoiding risks and challenges, feel satisfaction in sabotaging one's own success. The result is that you feel good doing exactly the things that keep you limited. Now we come to the most important part. All of this can be reprogrammed. Neuroscience has discovered that the adult brain is much more plastic than previously thought. You can create new neural connections, weaken old connections, and literally rewrite the mental patterns that govern your life. But there is a right way and a wrong way to do this. Why traditional methods fail? Most people try to change using willpower, positive thinking, or superficial techniques. This rarely works because they only work at the conscious level, 3% of the mind. They do not deactivate the control mechanisms we saw above. They do not rewrite the programming at the neural level. They do not create new automatic patterns. Phase 1. Mapping and diagnosis. Identify exactly what your specific limiting beliefs are, when they were installed, and how they are operating in your life. Phase 2. Deactivation of control mechanisms. Neutralize the comfort zone guardian, deactivate negative emotional anchors, and break confirmation cycles. Phase 3. Installation of new patterns. Create and install new neural patterns that support your goals and aspirations. Phase 4. Integration and automation. Make the new patterns automatic, operating below the level of consciousness. When you master neural reprogramming, you can eliminate irrational fears in a matter of days, transform limiting beliefs into empowering beliefs, reprogram your identity to align with your goals, install new mental habits that operate automatically, create positive emotional states on demand, develop unshakable confidence in any area of life. The 21-day secret. Research shows that it takes approximately 21 days to form a new neural pattern. But here's the secret. Most people give up in the first 7 days, exactly when the comfort zone guardian is most active. The next 7 days are crucial. It's when your mind will try to convince you that this doesn't work, it's too hard, you don't have time, or any other excuse to make you quit. There is a specific technique to bypass mental resistance. Instead of trying to overcome your old programming, you will create a new neural channel that completely bypasses the limiting patterns. It's like building a new road instead of trying to fix the old road. This technique is based on research on neuroplasticity and has a success rate of over 90% when applied correctly. The brainwave protocol. Different brainwaves are ideal for different types of reprogramming. Alpha waves, 812 Hz, ideal for installing new habits. Theta waves, 48 Hz, ideal for reprogramming deep beliefs. Gamma waves, 3100 Hz, ideal for integration and insight. You will learn specific techniques to access each of these states on demand. The window of opportunity. Here's something crucial you need to understand. Your mind is more receptive to reprogramming during certain windows of opportunity. First 20 minutes after waking up, when the brain is still in theta waves. Last 20 minutes before sleeping, when the brain returns to theta waves. During states of intense emotion, positive or negative. After intense physical exercise, when there is high neuroplasticity. These windows are like back doors to your subconscious mind. The neural overlap overlap method. This is an advanced technique that drastically accelerates the process. Instead of trying to erase old patterns, you create new and stronger patterns that overlap the old ones. It's like playing a new song louder than the old song until you only hear the new song. The importance of neural consistency. Here's a common mistake. Many people do reprogramming inconsistently. They do it for a few days, stop for a week, do it for a few more days. This doesn't work because the brain needs consistent repetition to form new patterns. It's like trying to create a path in the forest. If you walk the same place every day, you will eventually create a clear trail. But if you only walk occasionally, the vegetation will grow back and you will never have a defined path. The principle of substitution. You cannot simply stop having a mental pattern. You need to replace it with a new pattern. Nature abhors a vacuum, and so does your mind. For example, if you want to stop having negative thoughts about money, you cannot just stop thinking negatively. You need to install specific positive thoughts about money. The positive anchoring technique. Just as you have negative emotional anchors, you can create positive anchors. You can program your mind so that certain words automatically trigger confidence. Certain situations automatically trigger creativity. Certain people automatically trigger inspiration. Certain tasks automatically trigger focus. The secret of neural visualization. Traditional visualization doesn't work for most people because they visualize only with the mind's eye. They do not involve all the senses. They do not create the necessary emotional intensity. They do not do this in the correct brain state. Neural visualization is completely different. It involves all the senses simultaneously. It creates intense emotional states. It is done in specific brain states. It uses anchoring techniques. It incorporates body movements. The integration protocol. The final phase is crucial. You need to integrate the new patterns into your daily life. This means reality testing, putting the new patterns into real situations, calibration, adjusting as necessary, reinforcement, strengthening the patterns that work, expansion, applying the new patterns in other areas of life. The exponential transformation. Here's what happens when you master neural reprogramming. You don't just change behaviors or habits. You change your fundamental identity. You literally become a different person. And when your identity changes, everything changes. Your automatic decisions change. Your emotional reactions change. Your opportunities change. Your relationships change. Your results change. The final warning. Before we proceed to the specific techniques, I need to give you a warning. What you are about to learn in the next step is extremely powerful. You will discover techniques that can literally rewrite your personality in a matter of weeks. Some people are shocked by the speed of transformation. If you are not prepared to become a completely new version of yourself, if you are afraid to leave behind familiar patterns, even if limiting, then perhaps you are not ready for the next level. But if you are genuinely committed to your transformation, if you are willing to do whatever it takes to break the mental chains that have limited your life, then get ready for step 3, where you will discover the specific neural reprogramming techniques that will transform your life forever. The moment of truth has arrived. Now you are ready for the most crucial moment of this journey. Everything you have discovered so far about how your mind was hacked, about the invisible mechanisms that control your thoughts and behaviors, has been just preparation for this moment. Welcome to the secret arsenal of neural reprogramming. What you are about to discover are the specific, tested, and proven techniques that can literally rewrite the mental patterns that govern your life. These are not theories or philosophies. They are practical protocols based on advanced neuroscience. The transformational synthesis. What you have discovered so far. In step 1, you discovered the shocking truth. Your mind has been hacked since birth. You are not living your life. You are living a programmed version of it. In step 2, you mapped the complete anatomy of your mental conditioning. You saw how the neural implantation system operated in your life, how the 3-layer invisible prison works, and how the 5 mechanisms of mental control keep you limited. Now, in step 3, you will discover how to break these chains forever. The master protocol of mental freedom. Technique 1, the 7-minute neural bypass. This is the most powerful technique you will learn. In just 7 minutes a day, you can create new neural pathways that completely bypass your limiting programming. How it works. Minutes 1 to 2, induction into the theta state, 4 to 8 hertz. Minutes 3 to 4, installation of new patterns. Minutes 5-6, positive emotional anchoring. Minute 7, integration and sealing. Technique 2, the overlapping reprogramming. This technique creates stronger mental patterns that overlap the old ones, like playing a new song louder than the old song. Practical application. 1, identify the specific limiting pattern. 2, create the desired opposite pattern. 3, use intense repetition for 21 days. 4, monitor the automatic change in behavior. Technique 3, the neural Windows hack. Taking advantage of the first 20 minutes after waking up and the last 20 minutes before sleeping, when your brain is naturally in theta state. The recap of key points. Truth 1, your mind has been hacked. Since birth, you have been programmed by parents, school, society, and traumas. Your current. Personality is not yours. It is a manufactured product. Truth 2. The control mechanisms are specific. The comfort zone guardian, the limited identity system, the 5 mechanisms of mental control, all operate with surgical precision to keep you limited. Truth 3. Reprogramming is possible. Your brain is neuroplastic. You can create new neural patterns, weaken the old ones, and literally become a different person. Truth 4. There are specific techniques. It's not a matter of willpower or positive thinking. These are precise protocols based on neuroscience. The reinforcement of possible transformation. What changes when you reprogram yourself? Identity transformation. From I am someone who struggles to I am someone who thrives. From I am not good enough to I am more than enough. From I am afraid to I am courageous. Behavior transformation. Automatic decisions aligned with your goals. Balanced and powerful emotional reactions. Consistent actions without conscious effort. Result transformation. Deeper and more authentic relationships. Natural financial prosperity. Optimized physical and mental health. Personal and professional fulfillment. The difference between change and transformation. Change is when you alter behaviors on the surface. You are still the same person, just acting differently. Transformation is when you become a different person. Your new behaviors are automatic because they flow from a new identity. The strategic CTAs. CTA 1. Implement the protocol immediately. Don't wait until Monday. Don't wait until you're ready. Start today. Your limiting mind will try to convince you to postpone. That's the comfort zone guardian in action. The longer you delay, the stronger it gets. Specific action. In the next 20 minutes, implement the first technique. Mark the next 21 days on your calendar. Commit publicly to someone you trust. CTA 2. Document your transformation. Keep a neural transformation journal. Record daily what techniques you applied, what changes you noticed, what resistances arose, how you overcame them. Why this is crucial. Your limiting mind will try to convince you that nothing is changing. The journal is your objective evidence of progress. CTA 3. Create your success environment. Remove limiting triggers and install empowering triggers. Eliminate people, places, and situations that reinforce your old patterns. Surround yourself with people who support your new identity. Create visual reminders of the person you are becoming. CTA 4. Practice absolute consistency. 21 consecutive days. No exceptions. If you miss a day, restart the count. If you do just a little bit, it doesn't count. If you don't do it with full intensity, it doesn't count. Remember, your brain needs consistency to form new patterns. Inconsistency is self-sabotage, the memorable closing, the moment of decision. You are now at a crossroads in your life. To the left is the familiar path, maintaining the same patterns, the same limitations, the same results. It's safe, predictable, and small. To the right is the path of transformation, breaking the mental chains, rewriting your programming, becoming who you really can be. It's uncertain, challenging, and limitless. The truth about courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's acting despite fear. Your limiting mind will generate fear when you start to transform. This is normal. This is expected. This is the sign that it's working. Fear is the guardian of your potential. Your legacy is being written now. In 10 years, you will look back and identify this moment as the turning point of your life. Either it will be the moment you discovered your true potential and had the courage to claim it, or it will be the moment you discovered your true potential and chose to remain small. The final question. If not now, when? If not you, who? Your life is waiting for you. Your true identity is waiting to be unleashed. Your unlimited potential is waiting to be expressed. You have 2 choices. 1. Close this document, go back to your normal life, and continue being a limited version of yourself. 2. Implement what you learned, completely transform yourself, and become the person you always knew you could be. The final promise. If you consistently implement what you learned, over the next 21 days, you will literally become a different person. I'm not speaking metaphorically. I'm speaking neurologically. Your thought patterns, your emotional reactions, your automatic behaviors, everything will be different. You will be amazed at who you have become. The last warning. Once you start this process, there is no going back. You cannot unknow what you now know. You cannot unsee what you now see. You cannot pretend you don't have the power to transform. Your ignorance is no longer an excuse. The final call to action. Your transformation starts now, not tomorrow, not next week. Now, stop reading. Go. Implement the first technique. Your new life is waiting for you. Welcome to your mental freedom. The moment of decision is the moment that shapes destiny. Your neural transformation journey begins now. The future you is counting on the decisions you make today.